Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. And I wanted to do like a news video today, kind of like a bunch of updates and interesting stuff in the Hearthstone world, because on the HS subreddit, I'll link it down below, there was an Ask Me Anything with the dev team, where people on Reddit could ask any questions they want about Hearthstone. Whether they get answered or not, that's up for debate, but anyways, not everyone I know on here on YouTube, of course, is like a Reddit user and all of that, might not have seen it, and I thought I'd give a breakdown of kind of what they said, you know, what they answered, what new information we got, as well as my, you know, thoughts and impressions on a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to go over at least the key items that interest me, are relevant to our channel. I'm kind of going to skip over the Battleground stuff. We don't really cover Battlegrounds here, but, you know, let me know in the comments below. Should I be covering Battlegrounds at all? Probably not. Anyways, so I thought I would get going in. The first thing that I noted that's like the big elephant in the room, we had the video yesterday about it, is the Battle Pass system, like the controversy around it and all that. I mean, I put my word out there that I thought the system was overall really cool, good for free to play, and yeah, it might hurt some grinders and all that, but again, nothing's finalized, who knows, it's just a survey, blah blah blah. And well, basically that's kind of what they said, is they, you know, they want to introduce the system. So Ben Lee, one of the key members of the Hearthstone team, confirmed that yes, there is a major rework of the rewards and progression system, and it's related to this Battle Pass survey, and they're expanding the Tavern Pass to supplement this with like new cosmetics. So it might have to do, you know, might intertwine with the Battlegrounds Pass, because that's the Tavern Pass right there. It's their intention that it's more of a repackaging of existing rewards and allow people to earn rewards in modes other than Standard and Wild. So right now, the way it is, to get like 10 gold or complete your daily quest, you basically have to do the quests in Standard or Wild. You know, there are some stuff you can do in Arena, but whatever. They're going to expand it, so maybe you can get a lot more stuff playing Battlegrounds, playing Arena, etc., etc. They say they do not intend for it to change the amount of gold or packs you earn during the expansion cycle, and the survey was sent out as a means to help refine the design of that system. You know, maybe that's kind of what I mentioned. It wasn't like, should we be jumping in arms about this? And he mentions that these type of surveys have been used for years, and often what's discussed in these surveys do not represent what ends up going into the game. So, yeah, I mean, they put out a feeler, they got some impressions on what people wanted, and, you know, it kind of blew up as it got leaked to, like, the general population, but overall, I think they'll end up coming out of this with some good stuff. I'm very skeptical about a lot of things with Blizzard and a lot of things with Hearthstone, but with this system, like with rewards, they've always improved everything they've ever introduced, and I really believe they wouldn't be silly enough to take away some benefits that we have and put in some worse stuff. Like, they've never done that, and I don't think they would. So it's good to hear from them that they acknowledge that they're not like hiding from it or anything like that, and will be interesting to see what that system looks like when it is implemented. There's a bunch of stuff about Arena. We never really talk about Arena here, but I loved Arena. Arena was the mode that I played a lot before I ever started playing Ladder. It's how I learned to play Hearthstone. I watched Crip a lot. And yeah, I've been kind of sad at the neglect of Arena. I have like something like 8,000 wins, and I've been on the leaderboard like 3 times, but haven't played it lately. And there's a little bit about it, not much. They said they feel like keeping Arena in a stable place right now is fine, but they want to put effort into the new modes. They're really focused on like Battlegrounds, on you know, improving ladder and all of that. But they expect to bring set rotation back in some form with this, and like Descent of Dragons will get rotated out. There's a lot of complaining about that, like Twin Tyrant, Dragon Queen, and all of that. And they expect, you know, they're open to feedback on small changes that could help the Arena experience. So basically, they said they're looking into it. You know, we've heard that a lot. They'll do a rotation at some point, but honestly, if you're really into Arena, don't expect much to really happen. I mean, you might get a set rotation, and that's probably going to be it. So, kind of sad that, yeah, their focus just isn't on Arena. It's just not what they care about, and I guess that's their priority. Just wish they had put a little bit more into it. In regards to the current expansion we are playing, Skullman's Academy, they currently do not have any immediate balance changes planned, but they are keeping a close eye on the data. And, you know, they're looking, particular, like with Kael'thas and Lightning Bloom. My number 1 and 2 cards, they said that would get nerfed, by the way. I think I'm okay with this. I mean, every day the meta seems to be shifting here and there. There's tons of new decks popping up. Druid's win rate is not even tier 1 at top 1000 legend. It's just the high roll that it does feels really bad. And like Paladin has a really high power level, but Paladin at high ranks really falls off. It's just really interesting to seeing how the meta is developing. This is much different than the last two sets where everything was broken right away and it was just ridiculous. So I do hope they do a balance patch, but maybe give it like, you know, at the end of the month or early next month, you know. Let this develop maybe for a month. I'm perfectly fine with it settling for a while. I'm not, you know, upset with them anything. You know, I don't love the insane amount of RNG in the game, but that's not changing with nerfs or anything. But yeah, they're not planning on any new nerfs anytime soon, and I think that's fine. I think they actually had a relatively, you know, balanced release. It's been a while, so it feels good. They mentioned they're open to bringing dual class cards back in future expansions if they're well received, but they admit they're really hard to design. I gotta imagine it's really hard to balance them. I'm seeing some discrepancies, like Lightning Bloom seems a little bit Monka-esque, and also Wand Thief I feel like is just way too powerful, but at the same time, I think they've done a relatively good job, and the flavor on the cards is really solid. Then one of the biggest things to come out of this AMA, like one of the biggest things that interests me the most, and I kind of felt like I hinted a little bit at this possibly happening in a video a few weeks ago, is they're looking at the basic and classic set and revamping it. So you know how we had like the Priest revamp and all of that? They redid the basic and classic set a little bit, introduced some new cards. Sounds like they're planning on doing that as a whole for the entire game. And this kind of alludes to like my video where I said, what wild cards would I like to see reintroduced to standard? And they kind of even mentioned that maybe they might do something like that. So yeah, it's really interesting that they're probably going to like, if you look at Shaman and Paladin, I mentioned in that video alone that those classes are in dire need of a revamp. Like every time their like new expansion cards suck, they're terrible because their basic set's awful. So they're definitely, this is not just speculation or them talking about it, they're definitely going to be doing it. You can tell by the amount of comments they made, it was like multiple, that they're definitely going to be revamping the basic and classic set. So I find that quite interesting, and I think it's really good. And I think they did a relatively good job with Priest. As disgusting as Priest can be, it's very playable, competitive, there's multiple archetypes, and that's more than you could say about Priest lately. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And they also brought up that the 5 neutrals that were Hall of Fame this year, we haven't seen replacements for them this year. We won't see replacements for them this year. That'll be basically addressed when they revamp the basic and classic set. So maybe they'll be replaced by wild cards, something like that. But it's something really exciting to see. And I'm excited to see that, what they'll do with the basic and classic set, because I think it's antiquated. I think the system's run its course. It's served very well for a long time, but I think it's time for some change in the long-term philosophy, and maybe having a rotating set or whatever they're planning on doing. I'm definitely down for it and curious to see what they come up with. They also talked about reverting nerfs and future buffs. They said after the next rotation, they'll be looking at nerf. Basically, they're going to be doing what they did last time. Last time, when they rotated a bunch of cards to Wild, they unnerfed a bunch, and they might do the same for Wild. Like, they might revert Dragon Queen, or Galakron, or whatever, you know? Like, they might revert some of the nerfs on that stuff. So, yeah. I mean, it's gone relatively well outside, in my opinion, Raza, so I don't really have an issue with that. And future buffs was also brought up, like I said, and it's basically can be used as a correction tool of helping underperforming classes instead of buffs for the sake of buffs, like they did with Extra Arms and Pocket Galaxy. So, yeah, if like right now, Shaman's still pretty struggling in Standard, maybe they would help them out by bringing up a card like, I don't know, Evolve. No. Let's not go down that road. They did mention, by the way, that if they did introduce buffs or wild cards, they're planning on being much more proactive at correcting them if they go out of line. I think they got a ton of flack for the Evolve Shaman thing during the Doom of the Tomb event, and rightfully so, but they mentioned that they won't make that mistake again, and if they learn from it, that's great. I wish they didn't make that mistake in the first place, but all you can ask is that people learn from their mistakes, so it's good to see that they're conscious of it. And lastly, there's a few tidbits here at the end, just some interesting facts if you guys want to hear it. They mentioned that previously released heroes and card backs might eventually come back and will be available for players who previously missed them. Could be through the Tavern Pass, who knows? We've already seen in the shop you can buy like the next Rammus card back, so that could be used like that. There was a talk about like being able to upgrade a normal card to a golden copy with like a nice feature in the menu. And they said they want to do that, but it's not something that they really have on their roadmap right now. And it's, you know, it's a quality of life thing. I don't think anyone's too upset about that. They said there's going to be a new type of vanity card coming out soon, and it'll look different in your hand, board, in your collection. So that's kind of unique and interesting. And they said, yeah, I mentioned earlier, but again, I'll allude to it. They're not planning on doing another Doom in the Tomb event where they bring wild cards up to standard, although I think they might do that in the revamp. Who knows? But again, they did mention that they were a little bit too slow at reacting, and if they did do that, they would be faster. And yeah, just there's some other tidbits, like they're not planning on having like a year-long narrative like they did with the whole Rise of Shadows and Evil Lackey, all that stuff. So overall, there's a lot of interesting tidbits, a lot of cool insight on what's coming up in the future of Hearthstone. And I'm glad that they're being open about this. It wasn't just the usual answering cosmetic issues and like, oh, what's your favorite dragon or something like that. They gave us some stuff to get excited about in the future, address some concerns now. And I think the team's been just doing a really good job, especially this expansion. I've been really impressed with how everything's coming together. And yeah, I don't have to make all these like negative videos and complaints all the time because, well, they're doing a good job. And when you do a good job, I give you a thumbs up. So overall, really happy with how things are going. Hopefully it continues that way. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything you're excited about or anything like that. And let me know if you guys like these news videos or whatever. I haven't really done this before, but I just thought I'd fill you guys in if you hadn't read the Reddit thing and all that. And yeah. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. And I just want to thank you guys. I'll show the graph. I've been kind of keeping you guys up to date on this, but we're now at 68% subscribed on the channel. I think the first time I showed this, we were like 75, something like that. You guys keep subbing. It's amazing. We're closing in even closer to like 7K. So if you're watching the videos, you're enjoying them, please hit that sub button. It helps a ton. But I'm just honored that you're watching the video. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friend.